What's up, boys? We are here in Nice in the south of France on the Costa Azul, or whatever they call it here. Check out those vibes, check those out. And here is something really cool, and that is the fact that while I was flying here, I made more money than my previous boss made in an entire year, maybe 3 to 5 years. And I don't say that to brag or boast or to flex or anything like that. Well, maybe a little bit to flex, but I'm not special. There's nothing like super amazing about me. I'm not like a genius. I didn't have any super competitive advantage. I just worked really hard and I did it really consistently. And the fact is, anyone can do this. I don't care where you're getting started from. And in this video, I'm going to give you a simple framework you can follow if you want to have a life where you can have time freedom, location freedom, and just general freedom in comparison to the average person. But once again, let's quickly just soak in these views and vibes because those are just magical. Magical, magical, beautiful day. Got some blue water, got France, all these beautiful things going on. But with all that said, let's get into the meat of this video. So the first thing is you need to identify something that you are better at than the average person. Now, you don't need to be the world's best, but you need to be marginally better than someone else, and it needs to be something that someone actually wants. So it could be you're better at a particular video game. It could be the fact you're really good at dating, you're really good with fitness, you're really good with business or investing or a whole host of things. I have a whole video on the topic that you can check out for yourself if you're interested in, called How to Identify Your Hidden Talents That People Would Want or something like that. I'll just link it down below. And that is step one. And that is exactly what I did. I identified what I was better at than the average person. But I identified the fact that I was better at social media marketing and, more importantly, advertising than the typical real estate agent. And once again, I didn't really identify this. People in my industry identified this because they were asking me to help them do it. And I went, aha, okay. Then I moved into different marketplaces where I had more leverage, and frankly, there's just more monetary opportunity in some of these other industries that you pivot into. But it all starts with finding your talent that you are better at than the average person. Then once you do that, you get into one-to-one coaching or consulting. And the reason I say this is because I truly think it's best for 99 to 99.9% of people to get started with that type of coaching than courses or group coaching or digital products, because it really helps you figure out your curriculum and your process and things like that to really ensure you are creating something world-class. I have a whole video on figuring out your curriculum that maybe I will also link around this video. But it is incredibly important that you actually have good products and services that actually deliver the result that you are promising, because that's how you get called a scammer and stuff like that. Is if you can't deliver the result and you take people's money, that is a bit fucked up, right? So don't do that and make sure you can get the result. And the beauty of one-to-one is that you're more hands-on, and so it is easier to get someone a result. Because when you do a course, they don't get that one-to-one time, and so they don't get that one-to-one impact, and it's generally harder to get people results with courses because also a lot of people don't actually follow through with courses. But I will give you a super ninja tip, and that's the fact that if you buy any of my products essentially that are based on coaching, consulting, courses, stuff like that, I send you emails and say, hey, are you doing this? Why or why not? Respond to the email if you're having problems, because I want to keep people going through my programs, because that's how you get people, A, to get results, but it also makes them actually digest your product. And I don't create products for people who buy and then they don't go through them. Yeah, I understand that is kind of their fault, but it's also my responsibility to make sure that they are getting results, because sometimes if they don't go through your product, they would leave a bad review and say, hey, this didn't work for me, even though they didn't use it, right? But it's also a great way of creating accountability and just keeping people on track. So that is another thing that you should be aware of. So I got started with one-to-one coaching, and then what I did is I created more leverage. Now, to get my one-to-one coaching clients, I started with a lead magnet that sent them to a landing page where they got something in exchange for something of value to build my email list. And this is what I mean by creating leverage in your business. And frankly, this is how I was able to make sales while I was flying without Wi-Fi, because the plane didn't have Wi-Fi. Don't know why, because generally I look for planes with Wi-Fi, but it's all because of this right here. I would pull up the system, my Kartra account, where I schedule emails to go out while I'm flying in the air, right? Because I can make those sales, and everything is pretty much automated. So when someone comes into my lead magnet or my landing page, guess what? They are automatically put into an email sequence that sends them a bunch of helpful videos, and then it sends them to a page with a very limited one-time offer with a massive discount. And you can automate all this stuff. I don't want to get into like the technical details of it, but the software tracks when they land on that page, and then they have 5 to 7 days to get it at that price. And if they ever land on that page again, they get redirected to a different page with the full price. And so creating YouTube videos and emails that you create once but work forever is a way of creating leverage in your business, so that you aren't constantly trading time for money and you're able to put sales on autopilot. So once again, I do that with a very simple system. I do it with a landing page to a lead magnet that puts people into an email autoresponder that sends them YouTube videos and other helpful emails that eventually sell them my products and services, because that is a leverage system that I created once and I put a lot of effort into up front, as well as creating my product. But after that, you don't have a ton of stuff that you actually need to do because you're so leveraged. And by doing that, that is how I have created the life of my dreams. And you can replicate that same thing if you would like to. And I show you a simple 3-step formula for doing that in the links in the description of this video. And so if that's interesting to you, you can go and check it out. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. Once again, check out the beautiful views of Nice. We got a nice little crane going over here. There's the Nice Jazz Festival coming up. So that's what they're getting all ready for. But yeah, gonna wrap up the video here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.